beautiful people. It's me, TopicEx, with another video. Okay, so this is a requested video, what we're going to be talking about today. I had a coaching call, one of my clients, big shout out to you, and he suggested this topic. Now, I have covered this topic, but briefly, but I'm going to be concentrating on this main subject through this video, and the subject is, if you can't see on the title, it is how do we go no contact when there's children involved? And yes, it is hard. How do we do that? Because they're either going to drop them off to us or we're going to pick them up. There is going to be communication there with phone calls and stuff like that. So how do we do it? Well, it's very difficult. But I'm going to tell you my advice and what I went through. As you're all aware, I have a son. He's 19 now. But when me and his mother split up, he was 2 years old, 1.5, 2 years old. I'm going to briefly go over what happened in my situation many years ago. So I'll try not to bore you. I'll keep it light. So my son was born. Our relationship was breaking down. We were living together and I left. Well, she kicked me out. I went. Now, through that time was horrible, right? Because we all know that, you know, it's painful. But also, on top of that, you know, you've got kids involved. It's a broken family. You've now got added pressure. Oh, the family sort of broke up. You know, let's get back together and want to be a family again, stuff and stuff like that. But sometimes it just doesn't work. So you're constantly forcing yourself upon your ex. Can we please work it out? Think of the kids, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I went through all that. Going around there, knocking on the door, trying to get her attention. It was crazy times. I was young. But the thing is, it's understandable. We go through pain. Okay? It's as simple as that. But what I put into place was I concentrated just on my son. I set out a schedule. I will pick him up at this time. I will drop him off at this time. Anything he needs, just briefly text me. And I left it as that. So I channeled myself towards my son and his needs by picking him up and dropping him off a certain time. Now, there was no talk into... So that's another thing. You think there's a chance there to actually go into the house and, you know, speak to your ex about the breakup. Can we work out and all that? I cut all that out and it wasn't easy, but I just concentrated on my son. I went into acting mode and I just pursued it. Now, in time, this is exactly what happened. I was living with my friend at the time, so I had a good support network there. And I noticed myself getting a lot happier because I was sharing a room with one of my mates and his family were there and they took me in as like I was their own. They saw the pain I was going through and they really helped me out. So it was a really good platform right there and that really did help me. So I concentrated on picking my son up, dropping him off and all that. I did not communicate with her whatsoever. She communicated brief texts, what my son needed, and I, you know, applied what he needed, clothes, etc., money, you know, etc. At the end of the day, they are your children. You've got to do your best by them, even if you're not with their mother or father. This is just how it should be. So, in time, I did notice that I was getting a lot of phone calls with holding numbers and no one was saying anything on the other end. Now, you know, you just have a gut instinct and I just knew that it was her just sort of pissing about at the other end of the phone and stuff like that because I wasn't giving her attention anymore. I was focusing straight on my son and I cut her out of the whole situation from begging and pleading, then automatically stopped and concentrated on my son. So what happened after that? Well, she started communicating even more through texts using my son as an excuse and saying random stuff to me and trying to start up a conversation. And I hit it straight on the head. I made it clear, you know, I just steered the conversation straight towards my son, or I would ignore the messages totally, if it wasn't anything to do with my son. So, can you see what's happening there? I took her right out of the situation and I was just concentrating on my boy. Well, 2-3 months after that, she saw that, this wasn't an act. This is just how it's going to be from now on. And there was a knock on my door. She come in, wanting to get back with me and wanting for us to be a family again. Well, through these months of me concentrating on my son, I started to see her true colours. She done a lot of evil stuff to me. Here's one of them. When I'd ring up to see how my son was, she'd get other men to answer the phone, trying to cause trouble with me, trying to make me bite because I was just concentrating on my son, and took her out of the equation. She was doing very stuff. Now, she is a narcissist. There is no question about it. I am going to be bringing a video out on narcissistic people. Believe me, I've grown up with a few. There actually is 2 in my family. So I'm very, very aware of narcissistic behaviour. Anyway, I did not bite to all this stuff, and I kept my cool, and I pulled back and concentrated on my son. Well, the moral of the story is she wanted to get back with me. The tables turned. She wanted to have that family with me. But unfortunately, through that time, I actually saw what sort of a person she could be, the evilness of it. So I decided, that I weren't sort of interested. By that time, I was healing nicely, and I couldn't go back. I couldn't afford to go back into that dark hole I was into because, I was getting a really good bond with my son. I didn't want to ruin anything, stuff like that. Anyway, if I haven't bored you and you're still there, the basic moral of the story is, if you have children and you're in that same situation of what I've just been explaining, then this is my advice what you should do. Set up a time, a schedule. Now, if she doesn't or he doesn't want you to come to the house, you set up a place. But what I'm trying to say is you get it all sorted ASAP, because then there is nothing lingering in the background. You can then concentrate on your children and the no contact with children. Get it in place straight away. That is crucial there. And when this is in place straight away, you do not, regardless whatever ages your children are, you do not try and find stuff out about your ex. Who have they got round? What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. You do not then use your children to say the same thing, because they will. Children have not got a filter. We know that. So if you're trying to do stuff to get back at your ex, i.e., you might have a lady or man friend round, and they will go back, and you're aware of it. They will go back and say, Mummy, Daddy, they've had this person round, that person round. Now, don't fall into that category. You are not going to do yourself any favours. You will probably feel good for about 5 minutes. But do not use your children as a tool to get back to your ex. This is very important. It will backfire on you fucking tenfold, and you will ruin everything. The best thing you can do is to become a better person through this. Show them that you are a better person. Now, you will be acting, okay, because you still will be in pain. But remember to yourself that you have your children for whatever set amount of time. Put on an act, okay? If you need to pull yourself away, go to your bedroom or bathroom and just have a little reset of your mind, then do it. But come back and just tell yourself you're just acting, you're getting everything sorted, your kids are going to have a good time, and when you take them back, then you can go back to, grieving a bit and trying to get your head together through this, okay? I know it's going to be hard. I know. For instance, when I was going to pick up my son, my anxiety was so high. I wasn't driving back then. I'd walk a certain way to go and pick him up. And now this certain way was through an alleyway, a wooded alleyway where no one was about. Why did I walk through that way? Because I knew I was going to be sick. And obviously, I don't want to be sick on the pavement with all these cars driving past. So every time I'd go through that alleyway and I was getting closer to the house, the anxiety was getting so intense. I didn't know what I was walking into. And that just built up so much. I just threw up. That was like a guaranteed thing every week. But just because my anxiety was just too high, because, you know, I didn't know what I was walking into. She did make it very difficult for me. But, you know, everyone is different. Just stating that fact. So I do know the pain and the crap that you're going through right now. Now, in time, if you do the right things by concentrating on your children and not trying to use your kids as a weapon, or if they're trying to use the kids as a weapon, do not bite to it. Do not bite to it whatsoever. Concentrate on yourself, but pull yourself away. Now, unfortunately, guys, there is no easy fix here. It is going to be hard. You know, no contact is hard anyway, but no contact and still seeing your ex-partner in the process, that's a killer right there, right? But if you do the right things and you do concentrate on your children and you play the system right and you play the game right, your ex-partner will see these changes of what you're doing, and they will question that, because 9 times out of the 10, they didn't want to break up like the family unit anyway. You've got to remember that. You know, if it was a loving and just a bit complicated and it just was easier to go separate ways, then the chances of working it out are very high. Obviously, situations are different. If someone cheated or there was violence involved, that's a different story, guys. But I'm going on to the fact that there was just complications in there. People weren't putting their weight right and stuff like that. So if you do play it right and you do stick to some of my advice that I'm doing, that I'm telling you now, then I believe the chances are very high. But it is no quick fix here, guys. Okay, you've really got that is got to be you from now on. That is got to be you. You have got to do this from now on, and believe it, and just concentrate on doing it. And if your ex-partner comes back and wants to work things out with you, then brilliant. If not, just keep going, because your kids are the most important thing here. Now, you know, I know it's probably fresh for you right now, but your kids are the most important thing. Anyway, let's sum this up, guys, okay? My advice, put a plan into place, a set time, a set day when you're picking up your children or you're dropping them off. Stick with that. Any phone calls made, it's all about your kids. Any texts made, it's all about your kids. Do not use your children as a weapon. That is destructive behavior and it will not end well. Stick to the plan, concentrate on your children, and, you know, hopefully we will spin this around when your ex-partner sees that you are capable on concentrating on your children and not concentrating on getting them back. Anyway, guys, coaching calls are now in play. Personal videos, get in touch with me with any comments or any suggested videos, and I'll be too happy to help. You're all beautiful people. I'll see you later.